everyone, and welcome to my channel. Thanks for clicking on this video. I'm going to do a review of these ARTEZA markers. They are acrylic markers that I got for Christmas. So I'm just going to do a little product review of a simple design. And so first I'm going to choose some colors. This is actually going to be for my mother, so I wanted to pick a few colors that I thought she would like and that would go well together. So I'm picking out lime green. I think this one's forest green. There are several blue shades, so I'm gonna pick out some teals and then finally some yellows. And I'm gonna start with this lemon yellow, the lightest one, first. What you have to do before you can use these markers, especially if you haven't used them yet, is you have to shake them up and then push them repeatedly so that the paint actually comes down into the tip of the marker. I'm kind of showing you here how long that takes, but it isn't really that long. I mean, they do work really well as advertised. And once you start seeing the color come out, you're ready to go. So I'm gonna start with this lightest lemon yellow color to kind of show you what it looks like up against this similarly colored background. The Tennessee shape is pretty close to that lemon yellow, but you can still kind of see it even from the distance of my camera to the canvas. I really like this color. I think I would like it a lot more on a white background, but it does work well and it dries really fast. That's one of the things I love most about these markers, is how fast they dry. And that you can go over them just like you could acrylic paint in layers and then make your color a little bit more opaque or a little bit thicker. This marker, this shade of yellow, I've actually used before, which is why I didn't have to shake it or push on it on the tip of it nearly as much. And I'm kind of going around my little circles here. These are all going to be kind of little flowery centers. There's probably a technical term for that, but I don't know what it is. And I really like how even just going around with this one shade makes that lighter yellow, the lemon yellow, pop. And here we go with our blue teals. I actually ended up only using 2 of these different colors. And this one, it looks like, was brand new. You can tell I haven't used it yet because of the tip is obviously not saturated with blue paint. And so here we go with the shaking and the pushing. And it seems like a lot of work really to get your markers going, but because they're paint markers, I think this is the best way that a manufacturer could do it. You know, if you wanted to just use markers, regular markers, then you would just use regular markers. But I actually love using these because you can paint with them on all different types of surfaces. You can go over it again, like I had said already, in layers. You can fill in your shapes. Like you'll see here, I'm drawing these flower shapes and I'm gonna fill them in with the same color. And they fill in so seamlessly. It's just like if you were painting. And with regular markers or water-based or ink-based markers, you really can't get the same effect, which is why I like it so much. Another thing I kind of haven't really explored so much with these ARTEZA markers is the interchangeable tips. As you saw, the tips come unsaturated with the paint, but they are replaceable, and the kit comes with like a whole bunch of different replaceable tips. There's different shapes of the tips too, so I think there's chisel, and there's bullet, and there's like a third one, and there's plenty of replacements. I think these could last a really long time. I've actually only had them since Christmas, so right now it's January 25th. Exactly 1 month. Wow, look at that. So I don't know how long they actually last, like what's the shelf life, but so far the markers that I have used, as long as you're replacing the tips just like you would any art supply or any marker, they stay good. They stay saturated. The color comes out with no issues. I've yet to also, use one to death, if you will. I haven't used one all the way up, so I couldn't tell you how long one marker or one color would last. I guess the one that I've used the most is black, which you won't see me use here, but the black marker is really great to draw and paint with. I will point out also that as I'm painting with these markers, I tend to actually put my hand down and put my palm on the paint, which usually would not be such a great idea, but they dry so fast that I didn't run into any problems. You'll see in a little bit, I did get a little bit of green on my hand, but it didn't smudge and it didn't, cause me any issues. This shade of teal I actually found to be a little too close, a little bit lighter than I thought it was going to turn out. You can see I'm kind of just going around my petals with this darker shade, and you can barely tell that it's different. So I will say maybe I chose the wrong color. It is slightly bluer than the teal that I used originally, but that's just my 2 cents on the color difference. They're not really that different. Yeah, so here we go with some greens. I have lime green and forest green, trying to shake them up 2 at a time, making my life a little bit more efficient. Going to go in with the darker shade of green first and just do some little, greenery doodles. This one I obviously hadn't used yet, so I have to get it working first and then go in with my design. I was thinking about putting some kind of like inspirational phrase in the middle or some calligraphy of some kind, but couldn't come up with a word. That's usually my biggest problem. I don't know what word to put, so I just don't put words. And when I don't know what to draw, I usually will go in with some kind of greenery, some leaves, some branches, some flower stems, and grass blades. I'm all over the place when it comes to green stuff. But these little bubble vines I think are kind of cute, and they fit well with my little teal flowers as well. I think my mom will like it. Hopefully you do too. So I'm going in now with the lime green. I shook it up and got the ink going, but I actually think I chose wrong again, because you really can't even tell that there's a different shade going in there. I mean, I can tell right when I'm drawing it, but looking at it now while I'm editing, it's not, it doesn't contrast enough for what I was going for. And maybe that's the background of the Tennessee shape. The color there just isn't as, ready for that. I could also go over it again, so I may just go over it again in another layer after this video. Oh my gosh, now this is my favorite part. These ARTEZA metallics are amazing, and I have used them before, so you can tell I've already gotten this one going, but they are so opaque and so shiny. They come out easy, and they can also be done in layers. I've done another couple of projects with these markers. The kit comes with 3 different metallics, and so you've got silver, gold, and bronze, and the gold and the bronze really are very different, so it's nice to have 3 distinctly different metallic markers to choose from, along with all of the other colors that they provide in this 40 marker set. So as you can see with the silver, even from a little bit of a distance, that it is shiny. It does catch the light differently than the other colors do. It's really great for walking past an item, or like when my mom hangs this on the wall and you walk past it, the light will catch it differently. I really love the metallics. I can't really say that enough. But anyway, this is kind of what it looks like in the light. Little twinkles, some sparkle added to this simple flower design. And I think I'm done with it. Sometimes it's really hard to decide when you're finished, but I think I'm done with this one. I love the markers. I would give them a solid 9 out of 10. The only reason not a 10 is because I feel like even with the ability to blend and shade and the 40 different diverse colors, there's still not really enough for me. Maybe there's a bigger pack. Who knows? Maybe I'll get that. They do come in a lovely box that you can just shove them back in there. There's little perforations at the bottom that you can pop them right back into place, and I like to keep mine in semi-rainbow color, but really that's not important. I would recommend you go and get these. This video is not sponsored, but maybe it will be in the future. Thanks for watching my review of the ARTEZA 40 acrylic marker set.